When you are in a highly competitive industry, you need a competitive advantage. And so what I do through SportsGrad in my program is give people that competitive advantage. Now, one of the ways we do that is by breaking it down into a system that you can follow. So there's absolutely no guesswork. And one of my favorite quotes is, if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, then you don't know what you are doing. So I thought, okay, that's interesting. What if I could turn the process of landing a job in sport, or what if I could turn the murky pathway to landing a job in sport into a process? How many people might that help if we could literally say to people, do step 1, step 2, step 3? And so that's what we've been able to pull together. So in the middle of this diagram is the pathway to landing a job. And there are 2 places you can start. You can either start in the hidden job market or the open job market. And once you progress from there, you'll either get to an application stage or you'll skip the application based on your reputation. And your reputation and the application will then eventually get you down to this point that decides whether you get the job. And what decides whether you get the job is a combination of your capability and your potential. So your capability being what you can do right now, and your potential being what you can achieve in the future. And particularly for you guys in the stage of your career where you guys are at right now, what is more attractive to employers is who you can become. Not so concerned with what you are right now, but if you're coachable and we can train you up into someone who can work for the organisation for 5 or 6 years into the future, and in that time develop compounding knowledge and compounding relationships with everyone who you do the job with, then the return on investment in you is going to be far greater than perhaps anybody else. So once I kind of figured out, like, what does it take to actually get a job, then the next question became, how can we help people to progress at every single stage of this journey as quickly as possible? And so that's where figuring out how to progress came down to answering a few, or understanding what questions we need to ask ourselves. I think it was Tony Robbins who says the quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask. And so if we ask the right questions with regard to our career, we can actually make meaningful progress. So for example, like, right at the top, it starts with as simply as, how might I increase my network? And on the other side might be, how can I get more interviews? When we progress further than that, we think about, well, if my reputation is the thing that propels me forward, then it's asking, well, how can I boost my reputation? And then if you're missing out on a job because of either your capability or your potential, then you need to ask yourself, well, what do I need to do to increase my capability? Or what do I need to do to better sell my potential? If you can diagnose a problem, then you can find a better solution that's going to get you forward. And so that was ultimately what we're able to do with Shiv, where he was like, I know I've got a problem. There's 250 applications that I've poured my life into, but I've got no idea where the issue is. By putting this sort of framework over it, we can start to figure out where is the underlying issue. But like anything, you want to actually measure things so you can understand if you're making meaningful progress or not. And so that's where we apply KPI to every single step of the journey. So at the top, it's like, well, how many, if you want to increase your network, we'll actually track what is your list of decision makers that you have in your phone right now that you can pick up the phone and call. If at the start of this year you think, oh, I need to grow my network, and at the end of this year you think, oh, I still need to grow my network, how do you actually know that if you can't tell if you had 1 decision maker in your phone to begin with and 5 at the end? You need to track this sort of stuff. Same goes with the interviews. You might be thinking, like, for Shiv, he might be thinking, like, I've got no idea if my 150th resume is better than my 250th resume. There's a no, because he's not tracking how many of them are actually leading to interviews. So one of the things we get people to measure is, like, what is your interview or application to interview conversion rate? And you want to try and aim for about 25%. Okay. Beyond that, same sort of thing with your reputation, or if your capability, or your potential. If you can start to kind of track all the different things that matter that are going to sell you into a job, then you can start to make progress on it. For those in the room who study marketing, a lot of the principles are very similar to digital marketing. It's like, if I have a website, how many views am I getting on the page? I want everyone to click on a certain button, so how many people converted to that button? And then that button took them to a product, how many people landed on that product page? And then how many people actually bought the product? For a digital marketer, you might change things like, the headline and the color of the button and the layout of the page. And you can track over time, like, okay, we got, after these changes, it led to, from a a 5% conversion rate to a 10% conversion rate. That's how the best companies in the world sell more products. And that's how the best job hunters in the world sell themselves better as well.